Hello, my name is Mia Jacobazzi, and I will be talking about food culture in a worldwide sense. What is food culture? Food is the great unifier that connects us across cultures and generations. It can quite literally propel you to another time, another country, another culture without even you leaving your dinner table. Food culture is the connection, beliefs, and experience we have with food in our food system. It incorporates our cultural heritage and ethnicity, but is not limited to it. The first food hub we will talk about is Japan. Japan is one of the most ancient forms of food, and a lot of the customs and styles have stayed consistent over the centuries. Known as the rice hub of the world, most of their meals are rice centered, and this leads to the development of their traditional seasonal vegetables, fish, and other marine products reaching a highly sophisticated form in the Edo period. There are three basic styles of Japanese cooking, and I'm sorry I'm about to butcher all of these, but there are Honzen Rori, Chikaseki Rori, and Kaseki Rori. Honzen is a very formal and many course style meal, usually banquet, that has developed over the centuries. It started as the type of cooking presented to high class people in Japan. Chukaseki is known as a tea ceremony meal and is known for the artistic presentation. The meal puts an emphasis on the use of fresh seasonal ingredients, and the feel of the ceremony incorporates parts of Zen and Honzen Rori. Kaseki is a more casual style of eating, and there are fresh ingredients, but it's known for the lack of etiquette and relaxed atmosphere and a little bit of sake. When exposed to the Western style of eating, some of their foods were modified and added. Some examples of the creations were tempura in meat dishes such as sukiyaki. Modern Japanese food has become a hot commodity in many other countries, especially the US, Canada, and Europe. Though the term sushi and other Japanese foods have been subject to Americanization, and it is no longer the traditional sense. Globalization has changed the way Japanese food is produced and viewed. One of the main characteristics that goes into Japanese food culture is the habits and traditions during meals. There is a specific tableware for different meals and foods, and the visual presentation is extremely special. A Japanese meal is much more than just eating, it's socializing and communicating. The next food hub we will talk about is China. Chinese cuisine is known for its wide variety and diverse cultural heritage. Each dynasty in Chinese history has had a different influence on Chinese food culture. One of the most influential was the Zhou dynasty. During the Zhou dynasty in China, food was mainly grains such as beans, millet, barley, and brown rice. Though they were not the same as what we have today, cultivated in modern agricultural industry. It was in late Zhou dynasty that people started to have white rice or peeled rice, and that was very rare and highly cost food for rich class. One of the quotes from an article about Chinese cuisine was due to the opening of the Silk Road in Han Dynasty, merchants and economical exchange had brought many imported eating and cooking materials for people at that time, such as the pepper, pomegranate, grapes, walnuts, sesame, watermelon, cucumber, spinach, carrots, fennel, celery, lettuce, onion, and garlic. There is also a prominent food educational program running through China and is still active today. When it comes to modern Chinese food, it's a country with a long history of ritual and etiquette, and eating is highly important feature of Chinese culture. So naturally, dining etiquette was developed to a high degree. Modern dining is known to be a positive, noisy atmosphere and is known to have the feeling of a family gathering. Like most cultures, many of the traditional foods have been modernized and Americanized, and what we know as Chinese food today is different what we would find in China. There are four main regional styles of Chinese cooking, known as Cantonese, Mandarin, Shanghai, and Szechuan. The next food hub is Vietnam. Like most Asian countries, a lot of the cuisine revolved around either rice or noodles and always included fresh seasonal vegetables or herbs. The cuisine from Vietnam differs with the geography and the history. Northern Vietnam, because of proximity, reflects a lot of the traditions of China. Because of the climate, there is less access to vegetables and therefore less in the dishes. The royal tradition in the central region goes back beyond the more recent Vietnamese monarchy to the ancient kingdom of Champa. The royal taste reveals itself in the preference for many small dishes placed on the table at once. It is known to be more lavish and was more prominent in wealthier households. In the southern region, the dishes were known to be larger and was also known for the heat because of chilies. Vietnamese curry originated in the south, and this was influenced by ancient Angkor. Because Vietnam had and still has a prominent amount of poor workers, noodles were a cheap alternative for high-class dishes. Vietnam was known for their noodle stands placed to feed the poor. When thinking of modern Vietnamese food culture, it still differs depending on the geography, but there are heavier outside influences. Now that it is exposed to Western cooking, there are many influences from other countries such as France. Because most of Vietnam is on the coastline, seafood is heavily present, but because of outside countries, meats such as pork and beef are added into traditional dishes. Vietnam is known for its hustling food markets where you can get some of the best, most authentic street food. The next food hub would be Thailand. It is over the centuries, they have tied Eastern and Western cooking into one harmonious traditional style of cooking. Like many Eastern styles of cooking, the main portions of the meals were aquatic animals, plants, and herbs. They generally stayed away from large amounts of meat because of the prominent Buddhist influence. Thai cooks were committed and resourceful with their ingredients, and they had to adapt based on geography and weather. Thai food was also known for its spice. They had access to a variety of herbs, spices, and chilies, making it an essential part of their cooking. Traditionally, the food was eaten in a ceremony-like fashion on the floor or on a small mat placed on the floor. Unlike other cultures that use chopsticks for their noodles, Thai people use their right hand to eat. Thailand is now the largest exporter of the grain rice, and the southernmost region is known for its beautiful rice paddy fields and is a staple in the food. Thai food has become one of the most widely known and loved types of food in the Western world. The spice level in traditional Thai food has significantly decreased, even though it is still known to be extremely hot. Eating out is more of a social event, and the food is generally shared with a huge group of people. The wealthier families still sit around a table close to the floor with no shoes, but they do now use utensils, unlike their ancestors who used their hands. Thai food is also known for its presentation, and it's not uncommon to see flowers made from vegetables and fruits, or small detailed pieces of art made from food. India is another main food hub. The history of Indian food can be traced back into the ancient days when the culture of preparing food with proper methods was introduced by the two ancient Indian civilizations. The Vedic period was when they defined their form of innovative cooking, and their dishes most likely included vegetables, grains, meat, dairy, and especially spices. Consuming meat was condemned at one point due to religious belief, and most people remained vegetarian. Food had a direct influence on the development of the body, mind, and spirit. This was also reflected on the amount of growth as a person you would go through. Later, due to migration, there was a shift in the food. Breads and fruits were introduced, and the influences kept coming over the years. These influences led into modern Indian food. The modern Indian cuisine is still heavily influenced by its history, but now new delicacies were introduced due to Eastern countries. Another aspect that was added as the attraction of sweets. They were extremely popular at festivals and especially special occasions. Italy is one of the most known categories of food, and its delicious and food variety in food makes me so proud to be from there. Italy provides such a variety of foods depending on the region, and there's something so wholesome about the food there. Each region was able to express different cooking styles based on what was available. There were different identities to the foods. For example, there was access to beef in Tuscany, black truffle was popular in Marches, two popular cheeses such as mozzarella and provolone originated in the south along with citrus fruits. There was also huge differentiation in the pastas and breads depending on the region. Italian food is made to be served family style and is known for many courses, from cheese and salami to vegetables to pasta onto meat or protein and then dessert, and wine is enjoyed throughout the meal. The history of Italian cuisine, however, is as long and rich as the country's history itself. Its origins laying deep in the ancestral history of Rome, its people, and its political, cultural, and social power. Today, the regions still embrace their differences. Naples is known for its pizza, and Sardinia is known for its seafood dishes, and there are different traditions based on the north and the south, and there is still a never-ending amount of dishes in a traditional meal. One of the most well-known food hubs is France. They are known for the elegance and sophistication around the world, and French dishes were generally acid before a sugar mania hit the country in the 16th century. Sugar was put in water, wine, and even on fish and meat, and this trend helped bring about a fundamental change in French eating habits in later years. A clear distinction was made between salty and sweet dishes, and dessert was consistently served at the end of the meal. French cuisine is known for butter, and it quickly became a staple in the cooking. French cooking is the model for many other types, and they have always been ahead and up a level of sophistication. Food is an art form for the French and is written as something of harmony, chemistry, and spirituality. They were instrumental on starting at home cooking and with the rising cookbooks, and their dishes were made to please anybody. Today, French food is still on top and is considered an art to perfect French cuisine. American chefs such as Thomas Keller, a Michelin star chef, strive to perfect their take on French cooking. France is also responsible for the incredible training of chefs across the globe and is known as the culinary art hub of the world due to its modern take on historical techniques. Lastly, we'll talk about America. Is there such thing as American food? Just as our country was founded by immigrants on someone else's land, so too our cuisine, which was built by immigrants on someone else's foodways, and there's no arguing that the state of American food continues to endure this way. Built cultural exchange by cultural exchange, some welcomed, others reluctant, and still others forced. As Americans, we crave and look for inspiration when it comes to food. Our country is a melting pot of other cultures, so there's not just one influence to our food, it's a mix. For example, an American apple pie is technically not American at all. It's based on a dish from England. American food is known for its diversity in the mix of food we can produce, but on the opposite side, we are known for our mass production. We have read many articles and watched documentary on how American food production is out of control and is spreading worldwide. As Karras said, American food is Italian, it's Chinese. Let's celebrate the incredible skill and expertise that immigrants bring to our country. Without these cultural exchanges, there would be no spread in food culture.